to the channel. Let's begin with number 3. Brasília, Brazil's grand vision of a utopian capital, rising from the emptiness of the Cerrado in 1960, was meant to be the pinnacle of modernist city planning. But instead, it became a textbook case of unsustainable urban design. Built in just 41 months, its entire blueprint, masterminded by Lucio Costa and Oscar Niemeyer, was shaped by Le Corbusier's urban ideals: wide open spaces, superblocks, and strict zoning. The result? A city that looks striking from the air, like a plane, a bird, or an insect. But on the ground, it's a logistical nightmare. The biggest flaw? Brasília was built for cars, not people. The numbers tell the story. Spread over 5,800 square kilometers, about the size of Connecticut, Brasília was designed to house only 500,000 people. Today, it struggles with over 3 million, forced into sprawling satellite cities. Public transport? Almost non-existent. Walking? Impossible. Roads, some over 100 meters wide, separate homes from work, from shops, from schools, making a car essential. The average commute? More than 90 minutes. Energy use? One of the highest per capita in Brazil, driven by inefficient infrastructure, air conditioning demands, and long-distance supply chains. And water? That's another disaster. The city was built without a major river, relying on artificial lakes and reservoirs that have struggled to meet demand. In 2017, Brasília faced its worst water crisis in history, reservoirs dropping below 5%. Deforestation around the Paranoá Lake has worsened evaporation, while rapid urbanization has increased runoff, polluting fragile water sources. And the soil? The Cerrado's porous red earth makes groundwater recharge slow, yet Brasília continues to expand. But perhaps the strangest irony? The city that was meant to embody equality ended up deeply segregated. Its core, Plano Piloto, remains a wealthy enclave of government officials and diplomats, while the working class is pushed out to poorly planned satellite cities with failing infrastructure. Brasília, a dream of efficiency, became the embodiment of modernist hubris, sprawling, wasteful, and unsustainable. Moving to number 2, stick around. Now, Phoenix, Arizona. A city built where no city was meant to be. 100 years ago, this land was nothing but desert, dry, unforgiving. Yet today, it's a metropolis of nearly 5 million people. How? Air conditioning. Without it, Phoenix as we know it would not exist. Before the 1950s, summer temperatures reaching over 110 degrees Fahrenheit made large-scale settlement nearly impossible. Then came mechanical cooling. Willis Carrier's air conditioning systems. Suddenly, people flooded in. But here's the problem. Phoenix consumes energy at rates completely unnatural for its environment. The city's electricity demand spikes by more than 50% in the summer, mostly just to keep buildings habitable. And water. Water is Phoenix's Achilles heel. The city uses roughly 160 gallons per person per day, double the national average. And where does this water come from? The Colorado River, a river that is drying up. Over 70% of Phoenix's water is pumped in from hundreds of miles away, lifted over mountains through canals. The Central Arizona Project alone, a 336-mile aqueduct system, requires more than 2.5 million megawatt hours of electricity each year just to keep water flowing. That's a staggering energy footprint just to survive. Urban heat island effect, another critical flaw. Asphalt, concrete, they absorb heat during the day and radiate it back at night, raising temperatures by up to 10 degrees compared to the surrounding desert. Phoenix doesn't cool down at night the way it should. Air conditioning runs non-stop. The cycle feeds itself. The hotter it gets, the more energy is used. And suburban sprawl? The city's footprint has exploded, over 520 square miles, meaning longer commutes, more highways, higher per capita emissions. Yet, it continues to grow. The real estate market thrives. People still move in. Why? Cheap land, development incentives, a mirage of endless opportunity. But how long can it last? Lastly, we will talk about Los Angeles, California. Now, here's a city built on an illusion that infinite land, infinite resources, and infinite water could sustain a metropolis in a semi-arid desert. Los Angeles sprawls, 4,750 square miles of urban expansion, devouring the landscape with a density paradox. It's both crowded and impossibly spread out. The city's freeways stretch over 500 miles, built in the mid-20th century on the promise that cars would solve transportation. Yet, today, traffic congestion costs the economy over $20 billion annually in lost productivity. Water. Los Angeles shouldn't have had it, shouldn't have grown without it. Yet, in 1913, the Los Angeles Aqueduct was completed, diverting water from the Owens Valley, 233 miles away, and draining entire ecosystems. The infamous California water wars, engineered by William Mulholland, reshaped geography, causing the Owens Lake to dry up, creating the largest single source of dust pollution in the United States. The city still imports over 85% of its water, drawing from the Colorado River, which is now at record low levels due to overuse and climate pressures. The energy footprint is colossal. Los Angeles demands over 48 billion kilowatt hours of electricity per year, much of it historically generated from coal plants as far away as Utah. The urban heat island effect is severe. Some areas now face average summer temperatures over 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite efforts to increase public transport, the Los Angeles Metro Rail covers just 105 miles, serving fewer than 400,000 riders daily, while freeways remain jammed with over 5 million daily commuters. This city's design was a 20th century experiment in car dependency, an experiment that failed. Los Angeles remains an icon of American urban excess, reliant on distant water, distant energy, and an unsustainable sprawl. Check out our other video on least sustainable city designs of the 20th century. Brasília, Brazil, Phoenix, Arizona. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.